Oh, I'm busted. All right. Well, I think you know what we're going to be talking about today. Actually, I heard it's selfie day, so I'm trying to get a selfie of myself, but I don't know what I'm doing. I never do selfies. Are you kidding me? But did you see what I was doing? Did you see my posture? All right, this is the second part of our series of whole body series is release and relax. Smartphone shoulders. Did you see my head forward looking down? That's not very good. Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Vachon with Center for Performance Medicine Rehabilitation. Thanks for joining us today. And today we're going to tackle technology, especially these cell phones all of us can't live without. So let's get started. All right, so this is the second part of our 6-part series. We already went through healthy head, healthy life. Today we're going to be hitting smartphone shoulders. And then next week, we're actually going to be having a panel of people coming in that has experienced low back pain and talk to them about their symptoms, their struggles, their victories, their treatments, all these great things that have actually helped them improve. So please don't miss that. That's going to be a great, great talk. Then after that, we're going to be talking about healthy hip matters. We're going to talk about protect those vulnerable knees. And then we're going to be getting into, at the bottom, the ankles and the feet. Many of you deal with that on a routine basis. So, we are in a phone obsession. We cannot live without these things. I'm to blame as well. I mean, it is a major source of communication. It supposedly makes things so convenient. It's addictive. You gotta look, oh my gosh, did I get a like? Whoa, I gotta see, did someone answer a text? There's even studies say that these little boogers right here actually stimulate certain chemicals in your brain that gives you that need to look, okay? So, looking at the studies from 2015 through 2017 of cell phone use, Americans are checking their phones every 12 minutes. Every 12 minutes, okay? Collectively, that's about 8 billion times each day. Can you imagine that? I think I'm in the wrong business. I should be in the cell phone business. This is crazy. We are definitely addicted to these things. And we need them, right? But what are they doing to us? Using a phone an average of 5 hours a day. Think about how much you could get done in 5 hours. Think about if you were working a job. That would be 5 hours of pay. But people are using their time. And I talk to my kids. I try to essentially tell myself, Mike, you don't need to get on the phone. That can wait. Just, it's time to just have some quiet time. It's time to read a book. It's time to go outside. All these different things. But they do catch our attention. It is amazing. All right, so how does this affect us? Well, I hunch, meaning we're all hunched over. For all you iPhone people, I wanted to make sure that I gave a shout out to that. And then text necks, and then smartphone shoulders. These are all things that we've actually heard. There's actually research articles on what's called text neck syndrome. So it's actually a real thing that's going on because of the previous slide that I just showed you, because of the overuse of these things and the necessity that we feel like we have to be using those things. So we're going to get into, okay, if we have to use these things, if these things are a vital part of our lives, then how do we use them? What's the best way to use them? And if these things have already caused us pain and issues, how do we help that? The burden of staring at a smartphone. Okay, so we're talking about the weight of your head. So let's say the weight of the head is, on average, is 12 pounds across the board. Some people are heavier, some people are lighter, so on and so forth. And these represent the degrees of head carriage, meaning forward head carriage, your head coming in a forward position. As your head gradually moves forward, remember, you're looking down, right? This isn't, typically people do not look at their cell phone like this, which they should. We're going to get into that. It increases the weight of your head. So let's say on average, in a neutral position, which is 0 degrees, your head weighs 12 pounds. Typically, your head is the heaviest extension of your body. When it moves to 15 degrees, it jumps up to 27 pounds. Okay, so that's maybe just like this. And then it moves to 30 degrees, okay? That may be looking down a little bit closer. And then you're already up to 40 pounds. So you start at 12, now you jump to 40 pounds at 30 degrees. 45 degrees, you bump 9 more pounds, and then boom, at 60 degrees, you're at 60 pounds. Your head is now away from your neck, away from the center part of your body. You are causing extreme stress. Just imagine what stress is being created. So this is a big problem. 2 of every 3 people using mobile devices have some sort of neck pain or have felt neck pain, or it's an acute flare-up or a chronic situation. Think of your head again as a bowling ball on a stick. And if you were holding that stick, how heavy would it get if you tilted that bowling ball out? Just think about it. It would get really heavy. You would start to understand the magnitude of the shift of that weight increase as that bowling ball was shifting forward. You would feel it in your wrist, in your hands, and in your forearms, and in your biceps and triceps. So, causing an incredible amount of stress on that stick, as well on your wrist, hands, and arms. So you'd really feel, try that, you'd really feel the stress that it's creating. So what problems are we talking about? We're talking about neck pain, we're talking about upper back pain, we're talking about shoulder pain, we're talking about chronic headaches. The last talk that I had talked previously, Healthy Head, Healthy Life, we talked about certain headaches called cervicogenic headaches. These are typically the type of headaches that would be created through poor posture with the cell phone use. Causing ulcerations and spinal curvatures. So your back typically has a certain shape to it from the side. That shape is developed through crawling, okay? That is a developmental process, and these certain shapes, which are called lordosis and kyphosis, are created to create the least amount of stress or pressure on the spine, so on the joints, on the disc, on the muscles, tendons, and ligaments that are surrounding it, and keep those nerves that are exiting from the spinal column safe from being impinged or safe from being irritated. So when you're looking down for your neck, or what we call your cervical spine, you're actually creating a reverse curve when you're looking down from the natural curve that should be. So instead of a more lordotic curve, you're creating a kyphotic curve that's more similar to your upper and middle back area. So you can alter those curves, which again will cause premature aging in the spine because it's causing additional stress, wear, and tear because of those abnormal curves caused by that poor posture looking down at that cell phone. So let's think about with kids. The problem with kids is usually their body ratios. Typically their heads are bigger than the rest of their body, okay? It's growth patterns typically. I mean, we all see it. So if your head is bigger than the rest of your body typically, because of the rate of growth and what grows first, then the head and the position of the head, again, remember, looking down as we're texting or looking down as we're doing social media, is going to have more of a greater ramification on that spine, on that upper back that we were talking about, that mid-back, because you're actually going to see a greater ratio of increased weight, okay, or stress on that head and neck when you're actually tilting your head forward to do your social media, okay? So that is proportionately more of an issue. So you may think, hey, I'm young, I'm a kid, what are you talking about? That's only for older people. No, it's not actually. We're seeing it in younger people more often because of this fact. So, or just as much. So what to do? Put your phones down. Do you ever hear your parents say, okay, technology is over? Do you adults ever think, oh my gosh, I just need to stick this thing in a drawer, okay? Because I need to get away from it. Maybe it's work, maybe it's social media, who knows what it is. But it has been proven that, again, that this helps release certain chemicals in your brain, and these things become addictive, okay? But we know that's not realistic. I get it. You know, these have become such a part of communication with your kids, communication with your parents, with your schools. It's amazing, with your job. So it's kind of given us, unfortunately, a 24/7, okay? We're available 24/7. So we need to figure out how we can use these devices effectively, because just putting them down, unfortunately, is not always realistic. So let's look at the proper posture that you want when you're using a cell phone. I see kids in my office do this all the time when they're on some type of therapy where I have them laying down. Their heads are completely forward and they're doing this, and I'm trying to get their heads back and telling them to bring the phone to your eyes, okay? Don't bring your head to the phone, bring the phone to you. Do you see the difference? Okay? My arms are up, the phone is more eye level, which causes my head to migrate back into a neutral position. Do you see how it's lined up with my shoulder? Okay? And I'm still being able to use my cell phone. You're like, that kind of looks weird. Well, sure it looks weird because you never see it that way. But if everybody was sitting around doing it like this would create a lot of less stress and wear and tear and pain on your head, neck, and upper back. But let's see what happens when everybody does. Okay, so we talked about that head forward. How's this looking? Where's my ear in relationship to my shoulder? It's way out in front. What do you think that's doing? How much is that increasing the weight of my head, causing all this stress on my neck? Now there's actually more stress back here, causing lengthening of these muscles, causing shortening of these muscles, causing both to become weak. Remember, correct way to do it? Incorrect. So again, like I said, ideally keep that head and neck in a neutral position and bring the phone to you. Not you migrating or going to the phone. We see this also with people with computers. They migrate to the computer screen. I don't care if they have the best ergonomics, the best situation in their office. Even a standing desk many times, people will still migrate their heads. So you have to teach yourself what good posture is. You have to remind yourself what that posture needs to be. All right. So more tips. Take frequent breaks, okay? Don't be on it for 5 hours straight because I can't break the chain of the Snapchat that I'm doing. I can't do that. Oh my gosh. Okay, I know that may be important, but in the big scheme of life, it's not. I'm sorry, it's not. Change positions often. Don't just be sitting there like this. 5 hours. Hours. How do you think this is for your breathing? Do I look like I've really opened up my airways here? No. You're actually constricting your breathing as well. Okay? So it's not healthy. Not even just because of the posture. We all have to breathe, right? Okay? So straighten yourself up. Open that area of breathing. You would not believe how many people come in and they have mid-back pain or upper back pain, and I have to actually release their diaphragm because they're always doing this. They're scrunching all this up. They're like, oh, I can actually breathe now. This is incredible. I thought I was having asthma or it was just my allergies. What's going on here? Okay? But there is a real issue with this. Okay? Put the phones down. Okay? I'm guilty of this, but man, when I was a lot of you kids that may be watching the age, I was out in the creeks. I was out in the yard. Our entertainment was kicking the ball against the wall. I don't know how that works, but I would do this thing for hours. Okay? Physical activity, fresh air. It's really good for you. It's good for the longevity of your life as well. It's good for your brain as well. Okay? So, it's important. It's very important. So, probably going to need to deal with relaxing some tight muscles, especially if you're in this type of posture. Okay? Causing abnormalities and shortness in those muscles, and you're going to have to actually realign the spine. Think about it. We're creating what's called, in this posture, we're creating what's called a reverse cervical curve. you are changing the natural shape of where this curve should be. Because our body was intended to move. It wasn't intended to move and then stay in one position. Okay? So yes, it is okay to look down, but it's not supposed to stay there. All right? So these are the things that many times when we're looking at these problems starting to be created, that these are the first indicators that we're seeing, even before the pain. There's tightness. I press on certain areas. Oh, my shoulders are tight. Oh, my neck's tight. What are you doing to me, Dr. Sean? It's killing me. My neck's not hurting me. What are you doing? Okay. Well, if there wasn't something going on there, it wouldn't hurt, right? Okay. And you also see alteration in people's posture. Look at your parents. Look at yourself. Get in the mirror right now. Stand on the side. Look. Are your shoulders rolled forward? Is your head out in front of your body? You know, I even see dancers these days, okay? People that have to have good posture on stage. I'm telling them, hey, shoulders back, head back. Well, I do that on stage, okay? Then this is still not a good thing, okay? And many of you, because you've gotten so, your mind has gotten so ingrained in being in this position, it is really hard for your dance teachers, for even when you're taking a shot with the basketball. I mean, all these things, that posture is important, okay? You're like, what? What am I doing here? I don't know what you're talking about. You can't even put it together. You think we're just picking on you, all right? But it's a true reality. Because you can't put it together. I see it with pitchers and how it affects their throwing arms, okay? I see with basketball players how it affects the accuracy of their shots. I mean, there's a lot of things that posture is very, very important. So let's look at these steps of treatment that when we see these issues, what we typically go through. Now, I'm going to touch on these 4 steps, and then I'm going to verbally talk about them, because depending on the situation, depending on the issues, there can be a large variety of things that we can do here. And you know what? If you're struggling with this and you're having some problems, give us an opportunity to look at it. This will give you an understanding of basically what may be the issue. We already know what the issue is, but what may be the treatment that could be helpful. So, we're going to look at reducing pain and inflammation. That's very, very important. That's many times the inflammation is a big motivator of that pain as well, or what could be causing that pain. We are going to look at range of motion. Okay, motion is life in a joint, so we're going to talk about that. Restoring yourself to proper function. What does that? That means proper posture. Okay, your head in the right position. And then what can you do on a daily basis once you've corrected those problems to keep it there? Okay, because you know what? I want to empower you. I want you to have this information so this problem doesn't come back. Okay, so let's look at number 1, reducing pain and inflammation. Well, when you have your head and neck in an abnormal posture, like I was demonstrating, okay, what that can do many times is it can cause some irritation to a lot of the structures that actually support your head and neck. Could you give me that? Thank you. So if we're looking at the spine, and this is the back of your head, or what's called the occipital bone. And again, typically you're going to have what's called a lordosis, or this type of curvature in the back when you're looking at it from the side. And this is what's good. This is good. Remember I said there's a certain curvature? Well, why you have that curvature is there's a certain shape of these joints in the neck, in the back, in the upper and middle back, and in the lower back that enable these joints to have less stress on them and actually to move in relationship to the one above and below it. So if you can imagine I'm looking down at my cell phone, well, what is that doing? Again, that's reversing that curve. Remember, it was supposed to be like this. Now when we look down, it reverses. Okay, now, the problem is not looking down. The problem is staying in that position. Because wow, look at now. We're opening up these back joints. Do you see all these discs that are here in front? Those are the shock absorbers of your back. Do you see how when we're bending forward, that's actually putting more pressure on those in the front? Also, the weakest part of the disc in your back is what's called the the posterior longitudinal ligament. Unfortunately, we don't necessarily know why, but it's a smaller ligament in comparison to the ligament that holds the disc in the front. So when you bend your head forward, if you're going to have a disc problem, what's called a protrusion or a bulge or maybe even a herniation, it's going to go out the back. So again, you're exaggerating that position. You're actually stretching that longitudinal ligament, okay? And you're actually creating more of an issue of that disc being able to exit out the back. You getting my drift? And remember, we're just talking about the skeletal structures. We're not even talking about all the muscles that are attached to this area. So again, as I was telling you, as you elongate and you look down, you're lengthening the muscles in the back and you're shortening the muscles in the front. Has anybody ever come back at you at the back of your shoulders and kind of pushed on you like, oh! And you had no idea that there was even pain back there, but these huge knots? And you're like, could you stop that? I mean, that hurt. Well, that means that there's a problem going on there. And many times, your muscles in the back here are working really hard to try to pull your head back into a neutral position. So they're tired. They're like a tethered rope. They're all knotted up because they've been overused and abused. And many times you'll have tenderness in the front because, again, you're shortening this. Not only are you shortening the muscles, ligaments, and tendons, but remember, you're shortening that airway, okay? So, and it's good to breathe. It's good to have air. Your body relies on it. So let's look at getting your range of motion back. So when we talked about the issues with the pain and inflammation, there's a variety of treatments and things that we can do to be able to get that under control. Depending on the severity, depending on if it's an inflammation to the nerve, depending on if it's an inflammation to the joint, the muscles. You have a very aggravated disc that we were talking about in your neck. Remember, that's a shock absorber. Because many times that can cause pressure or pinching to these nerves that are supposed to be coming out, and that can cause pain as well as radiating pain and numbness and weakness in your arms and hands. So there's a variety of different treatments that we can do to get the pressure off those discs as well, depending on the severity. Getting that range of motion back is really important because when you're in that posture that we were talking about, looking down, again, causing that reverse curve in your neck, your upper back, these joints are going to start to get stuck. They're not going to be moving like they need to. Because remember, what you've done is you've created weakness, you've shortened and lengthened the muscles. The muscles are what cause these bony structures or skeletal structures, these joints to be able to move. So not only are you creating an imbalance because of your posture, not only are you creating a structural, what's called fixation, or the joint's not moving right, but now when the joint moves, it's not moving properly because the muscles are weak, either because they're too short or they're too long. So again, there's a variety of physiotherapy exercises, chiropractic adjustments, neuromuscular re-education that we can do to actually get that function or get that range of motion back, to get it moving properly. Taking the pressure off the nerves, getting the muscles to function properly, strengthening them and stretching them so that they have normal function. So once we get everything restored back to the normal, so let's say you come in and you have a disc problem, you have you have the whole kit and caboodle. You have headaches, you have all these things. Once we get the muscles functioning properly, your body's perception and understanding of what correct posture is, and then being able to stretch and strengthen everything where it needs to be. Getting the pressure off the nerves, okay? Getting the irritation off the joints. Once we get that back to normal function through that treatment process, then there's going to be things you're going to need to know to keep it there, okay? So, how do we prevent it? Well, does anybody know what a foam roller is? This is a really simple thing. Usually about 3 foot long, about 6 inches in diameter. It's something that you lay on your back, retracting your head back into a normal position, starting your arms out at about 45 degrees with your palms up. and feeling that stretching through your chest, okay, and also that tightening that you need in the back, your upper shoulder area, and bringing your head back into that neutral position and starting at 5 minutes a day. And then working up 15 minutes a day, once a day, okay? Also, there's things that are called wall angels, where you can get up against the wall. Your heels are about 6 inches away. You need to make sure that your back is flat against the wall, your lower back, because you have a curve in there that needs to pull it down to bring your shoulders back all the way that you need. Anybody ever do snow angels? Very similar thing, but you're not moving your legs, and then you're up against the wall and you're going up and down, up and down. Now you got to imagine I'm against a wall here, up and down, making your shoulders all the way back. Many of you may say, well, wait a minute. When I get up there, I look like this. Well, that tells me right there we need some more time on that foam roller too, okay? Or there may be a situation, I'm going to come over here. Thank you. That you may need to do doorway stretches, okay? And that necessarily many times will, we'll have you can have it open, and then you're going to put your arms up here. Your arms and your forearms are going to be at a 90-degree angle. You're going to make sure that you're in the doorway, so you don't want your feet out. You want your feet under in that good posture. You're not going to project your head forward. You're going to lean your body forward and hold that stretch for about 10 seconds. And you're going to feel all that stretch right through here. Again, keeping your head retracted. Not when you move forward do you move your head forward like you're looking at a computer screen or your phone. We're going to continue to work on that posture. We're going to hold that. We're going to do that for about 10 repetitions. Then once you have your arms at the 90 degree, you can straighten them more and do the same thing. And that gives you a different stretch, affecting different part of the muscle, bringing in some other muscle groups in as well. Again, just good stretching that you can do to make sure that you're keeping this all loose and retraining your body of what that posture needs to be, because I'm going to tell you something. We're probably not going to be able to get away from these boogers, okay? They're probably going to be, unfortunately, more a part of our lives, all right? But what I am hoping that today did is that it gave you, number one, some realization of how much we actually rely on these things, okay? Think about it, 5 hours a day. How much can you get done in 5 hours? Think about it, you adults. That's a lot, okay? And every 2 out of 3 people have neck pain associated with those things. Yeah, so it is becoming an issue, and we're seeing it in the journal articles. Go on, PubMed. There is actually literature and articles about text neck syndrome, okay? So it is a reality. I'm not making this up. So what I'm hoping, number one, if you're not in a situation where you're hurting, please start to change your habits today. Think about what I said. Please take it into consideration. Start these simple exercises that I talked to you about. Make yourself more aware of your head and your neck and your posture. Start now. Now, if you're a person that's in pain and you haven't been able to figure out what's going on, give us an opportunity to give you a consultation to see what is going on. It could be possibly a home exercise program. Maybe it's that simple. Or there could be something more that you need to do to be able to get things figured out. You don't want it to go to a point where we can't help you, and possibly it's a surgeon that can help you, okay? Because these things can get bad, or go to a point where it's affecting your work, or affecting your lifestyle, or affecting your social life. Pain can rob you of all those valuable things. I would hate to see that happen. Well, I hope you learned something today. Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Vachon. Thank you for joining me. Please check us out at gethealthystl.com. And please, if you have any questions, you have any comments, I encourage this at every talk. Just please let us know. I love to hear about them. I love to hear your input so that we can make this better. Thank you.